everyone, it's Kayla, and today I'm going to talk about some popular books that I just don't like. The reason I'm filming this video is because I set out to do the unpopular opinions book tag, and the first question is name a popular book or series that you don't like, and as I was listing them, I realized I have a lot of them and it would make its own video topic. So here we go, let's serve some tea, shall we? I'm not even going to put a disclaimer saying anything about offending you if I have your favorite book on this list, because we all like different things and that's okay, people. It's quite alright. Let's just start off with a ringer, Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, and I read this like near the start of my channel. I was recommended the book and series based on my love for Game of Thrones and time travel and historical fiction, and so I went into it expecting this epic adventure, and I didn't realize at the time how romance heavy it was, and yeah, I was just not in the mood and therefore not here for it. And I also didn't like the abuse that's in book one. It took so long for me to get through, and like, I'm sure the show is great. Like, a lot of my friends love the show, so maybe I'll give that a chance in the future, but I don't know, guys. Like, I don't think I'll continue the series for sure. It's just too long and I ain't got that kind of time. So yeah, moving on. The next book on my list is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This is the first book in the Chaos Walking trilogy, and I don't know. I just went into this expecting to love it and I didn't love it, and I didn't continue the series. I actually unhauled it. I'm not going to talk about any spoilers, but all I gotta say is Manchi. Okay? Manchi. And if you read the book, you'll understand. You'll understand. The next thing on my list is From Air of Fire On in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. And yeah, if you go back to my earlier videos, like, I rave about Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight. I like some of Air of Fire. The only saving grace for me in the third book was Manon. I loved Manon, and she's the only reason I would ever continue reading this series, but I heard in later books her character gets destroyed. I have so many thoughts on this series. I don't understand how you can change the entire tone mid-series. Like, I just feel like books 1 and 2 and part of 3 are so disconnected from the rest of the series, and then I spoil myself for the rest of like the story. But like, I don't understand how you can make a young adult series new adult in book 5. Like, how is that allowed in publishing? Like, I just, can someone please explain? I just don't get the hype. I know so many other series that deserve the same hype that don't get it, so it's really frustrating. You can't destroy characters to build up other characters when it doesn't make any sense. I'm just being honest. The next book on my list is Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. Lainey was hosting a read-along for Dorothy Must Die years ago, and then we had a live show where we just smashed it to smithereens. I don't remember exactly what I hated about it. I think Dorothy was very annoying. I think all the characters were very annoying, and I just don't remember much about it at all. It was a fun time during the live show. I feel like sometimes discussions about books can be more interesting when you don't really like the book, but that's just my opinion. The next book on my list is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and I've talked about this a little bit before, but I just feel like she took X, Y, and Z from different books and smashed it together. For instance, I feel like the main character, who I can't remember her name right now, but her character arc was literally modeled after Alina from Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, and I also feel like the way they used her to represent the revolution or whatever was straight out of the Hunger Games, and just so many different elements were like blatantly in this story. I just don't get the hype. Like, if I don't get the hype, I get frustrated and even more irritated at the book, which maybe isn't fair, but that's just how I feel about Red Queen. So yeah. And then we have The Stand by Stephen King, which is arguably one of his most like popular, beloved books of all time. It's like 1,000 pages, or actually 1,300 pages. I think it's the longest book I ever read. And like, I really enjoyed the first like 300 pages. It's like about this disease that wipes out like 98% of the planet. And then there's good versus evil elements and things like that. I just feel like the middle like 600 pages could have just been cut, and the ending wasn't satisfactory at all. I have a really big issue with Stephen King's endings most of the time. I just feel like all the buildup doesn't really pay off in the end. It happened with Under the Dome for me. It happened with 11/22/63 a little bit, even though I love that book. But The Stand definitely didn't pay off. I will say about The Stand, though, there are some passages in there that literally are some of the best passages I've ever read. about humanity and the way humans are and philosophy and things like that. But overall, The Stand is a no-go for me. The next book on my list is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is like a mystery thriller about a woman on a cruise ship. I really liked the first 50%, but I just feel like the ending just ended. Like there was like no resolution, or it wasn't good enough for me considering all the tension that was built throughout the story. So like it really brought it down for me. The ending really brought it down for me, and I think I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars. Next we have a book that I actually didn't finish because I was bored and didn't care about anything about 20% into it, and that's Warcross by Marie Lu, and it hurts my heart because I loved Legend so much back in the day. And one of my favorite aspects about the Legend trilogy, in the 3rd book, the main characters go to this city called Ross City in Antarctica where like humans earn points for different things, and she kind of modeled Warcross off of that concept, and I was so excited for it, and it just didn't work for me, and I didn't care about anything about 20% through. Like anything, and I was bored and I was getting slumpy, and I was just like, I'm gonna put this down. It's a great idea, but the execution just doesn't work for me for some reason. Next up is the Lorien Legacies series by Pittacus Lore or James Frey, and I only read the 1st book, and I read it back when the movie came out, like before I had a booktube channel, and I just remember feeling like it was written like off of the movie, and it was very surface and anybody could like write it pretty much. I just wasn't a fan at all. Like it was okay, but it was just really elementary to me. I don't know. I just wasn't a fan. It wasn't really complex. I just didn't really care about anything, so I never continued with the series. So then we have The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. This is the 1st book in a really beloved series across the board, and Chris Colfer I obviously love because of Glee. The writing was a little I know a lot of people love this series, so I might give it a shot again, but for now I have other stuff to read, and I'd much rather catch up on the Wings of Fire series because right now that's my favorite middle grade series. Maybe of all time. I'm not sure. So then of course we have 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James, which, what can I really say about this? Let's be real. I feel like I could take a red pen to it and literally edit the shit out of it. I don't understand why it's so popular. Like, the only thing that I'll give it credit for is it got millions of people reading. The writing is just so bad, and the smut is just not hot, and let's not even talk about the controlling and abusive relationship. And last but certainly not least is my most recent disappointment, and that would be Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And I'm going to continue with this series because I did like some elements, but overall I do not understand the hype. Jimmy Fallon is hosting a read-along of this book for the summer. Like, I think it's great that such a diverse book is getting this recognition, but like story-wise, I don't understand the hype. Like, literally, it's okay, but like I've read better things. I just don't get it. I feel like the pacing was so inconsistent. Sometimes there was a lot of action, sometimes there was nothing going on. The character development, just the character relationship development, like, talk about insta love and insta friendship. I'm talking about in pages. Like, I love hate to love tropes, like I love that, but over the course of a series, not over the course of like 3 pages. I'm just saying, like. And as an Avatar fan, I get that a lot of elements were taken from Avatar, and I was so on board for that, but just the execution fell flat, and I ended up comparing everything to Avatar, which is literally one of the greatest things of all time. So yeah, Children of Blood and Bone didn't impress me. I gave it like 3 stars. Oh, and in 2018, I forgot that we can still publish books with the line, "I released a breath I didn't realize I was holding," twice. It was in there twice, people. Like, I'm not even making this up. I couldn't believe it. I even like texted my friends like, oh my god, it's 2018 and it's in here twice. Twice! Alright guys, that's it for my list. Let me know below if you agree with any of these choices, and I will see you all soon with another video. Bye!